Welcome, everybody, to the Torque and Horsepower podcast. I'm your co-host, Eric Herbert, owner Herbert Performance Company in Reno.
And I'm your co-host, Alex Stursa with DBM Equipment Repair in Fernley. Today we have Josh. How you doing, Josh?
Great. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, we had a technical difficulty, but we're back. So
glad to do it over.
And we got some sweatshirts today, so my nipples aren't out as much. So
No.
we're in a fucking we're
Still
in a
as
good spot.
excited.
Yeah,
but
I'm still as happy. You just can't see it as much. Eric, what'd you have going on this week?
It's early. We're buttoning up a Stroker Chrysler 383, big boy with some nice parts. We buttoned up a 632. Drew did most of the buttoning up last week. Fuel injected 632 streetcar motor. I don't know. I got a lot going on. We're getting electrical done on the addition, and
Yeah, I helped with that.
Had to get some lights. I heard you helped the electricians out.
Yeah.
Home Depot doesn't have enough lights, so I got to order more lights from another Home Depot somewhere else. I don't know. That's about it. I got a fun one. I switched to lithium.
On what?
Yesterday on my camp trailer.
Oh, okay.
We had 2 lead acid 6-volt. It's like group 24 size. That's tall, like a wheelchair battery or golf cart battery, or whatever the kind of battery it is. And so last week we went to Pomona for the NHRA finals. My wife's never been to a drag race, not an NHRA drag race, and holy crap, it was a great time. But my solar charger boiled the water out of my batteries.
Oh, no shit, huh?
I didn't catch it until in the middle of the night. The fridge was beeping. There was no DC, and the heater quit working. It wasn't so cold that we needed the heat, but the batteries went to shit. And so I looked into lithium, and they make a lithium 100 amp hour. It's tall, but it's made to fit in a group 24 spot.
Oh, okay.
Because where my batteries are, it's not negotiable. It's all angle iron. It's all welded into the frame. It has to fit in that spot. I had no idea. The technology's come a long ways. I'm kind of anti-lithium. But
Well,
Right.
I would say from my past experience with my car, I had a lithium battery in there. If you let it go between, I think, under 10 volts, it is not good. So keep like a trickle charger on there or something.
what happened?
Mine basically didn't quite catch on fire, but it started smoking. Like
You had a lithium ion in your daily driver car
in my drag car.
In your drag car?
Yeah.
instead of a lead acid.
Yeah.
No shit.
It was great. It was only like 6.5 pounds, but it also
They're super light.
Yeah. It was at like 9.5 volts. I went to charge it and it wasn't happy.
Huh.
So
Well, this battery has they're made here, Battle-Born lithium batteries.
Oh, really? Is it like a Nevada thing?
Yeah, the facility is here.
Oh,
off
shit.
Of like Terabyte,
Oh, okay.
double R, double diamond over there. The guys were super nice. They have a huge display set up. I asked one guy 2 questions, and then he gave me 20 minutes of, you need to do this. This is your benefit.
Battery dudes get real hard about batteries.
Oh, man.
Yeah, especially lithium dudes.
It was crazy. So the battery has a computer built in
Oh, okay.
the top to balance it and then not overcharge.
okay, yeah, maybe.
And
hopefully things have changed.
And if it goes below whatever, he said it's going to be just like your like DeWalt cordless lithium battery.
Oh, okay.
It'll run at full steam and then it'll shut off, and the
Okay.
computer will disconnect it. And then same way with charging it, it'll take like 250 amp charge rate.
Oh,
So it'll
shit.
fill up quick,
Yeah,
and then when it's there, it'll disconnect it.
right.
And then I have a solar charger and it's set up for lithium, but he said because you'll have power and then immediately you won't. So they have a Wi-Fi app to measure that will give you a display of the percentage of your battery in real time, and it's measured through a shunt on the ground. Which I've never
Oh, okay.
seen that
Yeah, I haven't
before.
seen that.
It's a block, and you just mount it to the firewall, and the ground wire comes off. You know, they're wired parallel. The ground wire comes off, and then goes through the shunt, and then the ground wire goes to ground from the shunt. So off the ground, it measures battery capacity. I had no idea how they were doing that shit. It was like $100.
Right.
This big old billet block of bronze with a little transmitter in it. So we'll try it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a big big leap. It was $2,000 for 2 batteries, but
Yeah.
Well, if you never had to put them in, if that's the only set you ever buy.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I got 3 years out of the lead acid, and they were $480 for the pair.
Right.
So I mean, they say they'll go 10 times longer.
Oh, no shit, huh?
Yeah, they'll go like 5,000 cycles.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Something like
Yeah.
that. So, but what was funny is we're in NHRA, we're camping in the parking lot. Dale just bought this new Dynamax. I mean, it's like a 38-foot 2-person RV that is built.
2-person RV.
I mean, it's got tile floors, heated vibrating seats in the lounge. Everything is electric. Electric stove, microwave, no oven, which kind of sucks.
Do you use your oven ever?
I do.
Really?
Yeah. We put a pizza stone in there.
Oh, okay.
Get it hot.
Yeah.
And then, because you can't really bake shit.
That's what I was going to say. I never use my oven in mine.
Sucks for baking. But for a warming,
Right.
you know, like if you cook a bunch of breakfast or pancakes or whatever and you need somewhere to keep it warm,
Right.
just heat up the pizza stone and then you can put stuff in there and it'll stay warm for a while.
That makes sense. I've never tried that. Yeah, because I don't fucking ever use my oven.
Yeah, I don't bake cookies in there. But
Right.
Just to keep something warm, it's super handy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have an oven, but it's like they don't have it doesn't have an electric water heater. It has a diesel fired hot water on demand water heater in this freaking RV.
Oh, it's got like a Wabasco, but it's fucking for hot water, huh?
Yeah, you hear this thing sounds like a jet engine fire up, and then he can take a shower for an hour. Like
That's pretty cool
great.
because my hot water heater's like 2 gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What size tank in there? If you got,
I think he had 100. Well, that's the downside. He had 100 fresh, 50 black, 50 gray, which the math never really works out.
Right,
for
right.
that. But this
Unless
thing,
you shit a lot.
yeah, I was gonna say unless
You got to shit a
got
lot.
problems. But,
Yeah.
you know.
You got to have irritable bowel syndrome or something.
But this RV is super pimp, and he bought it. It had 3,000 miles on it, so it's brand new. Someone bought it, didn't like it because it wouldn't fit in some RV stall, so they traded this thing in with 3,000 miles on it. And he opens the battery box up, and it has these 2 giant Battle-Born
Oh, okay.
lithium-ion batteries in it, and I'm like, oh, check that out. So I Google it, and I'm like, oh, they make them in Reno. So I bought the same thing. He had bigger batteries, but holy crap.
Yeah, that's wild. I would have never thought that.
So there we go. That's my what. Now what about you?
We just have. I ended up picking up a little Cat 318 excavator that was supposed to need a head gasket, and I don't know why they thought it needed a head gasket. But we changed the oil pressure sensor on it, and she's got good oil pressure. And I got it dirt cheap, so she's gonna go in the rental fleet. We have a D10 up on blocks right now, doing some track frames and some line boring. And that's about it. The week today is actually this week's pretty normal, really. Just your everyday shit, blowing hydraulic hoses, all kinds of stuff. I got another excavator that I bought out of mine that we're replacing the pump on. That'll go in the rental fleet, so we're doing that. Billy was finishing that up today. He rebuilt the hydraulic pump on it, so just real mundane week, really.
Well, it's good. No big issues.
Yeah.
Except the broken lock on the fifth wheel hitch today.
Oh, yeah. No, my lowboy driver broke the lock on the neck. So, yeah, that did happen this week. The lock on the neck on my lowboy is non-existent anymore. So that's pretty cool. It's got it's got 4 30-ton cylinders on it to lift the neck or lift the lowboy. And he went the opposite direction, so it lifted the truck off the ground and just kept on fucking trucking until she broke the lock. So before I came here, I put the neck in the shop and put it up on stands and left. It's like, well,
so you have something to work on tomorrow.
Yeah, we have plenty of stuff to work on.
That's a tomorrow problem.
That's a tomorrow problem. There's fucking webbing in every direction. That's all broke out, so it's all gonna get cut out, re-welded in, and it's gotta be welded nice, you know.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a project.
What about you, Josh?
I've got 4 cars in the shop right now. I've got a 67 Camaro. I've got 2 Porsches. I've got a 90 911 and then a 75 911 Carrera.
Those are nice cars.
Yeah.
And what do you do with those cars now that we're out there?
So I'm automotive interior.
Okay.
I do a lot of custom stuff, and then a little bit of repair in between.
Okay.
Kind of keep things going.
But your main thing's interior?
Yeah, kind of custom stuff. So.
Okay.
Yep.
I got a boat.
We do, well, I'll do boats for people I like, so.
So you're not doing my boat?
I guess not.
Perfect.
You'll have to Google on the 70s on eBay for bulk material. From
Bulk
the
material,
70s.
yeah.
I'll give that a go when I.
It's shag and naga hide and.
I do want the
all
shag
the
out of there
work.
because all the semen gets stuck in it. So yeah, we need to get the shag. We need some like sea deck or something you can just scrub out. You know.
need taller semen in your boat.
So what do you do? What do you own? What do you got?
I've just opened probably. Let's see. October 22. I started my own business doing custom automotive upholstery.
Okay.
But I've been doing it for about 15 years. I was with my dad doing that for about 8 years, and then went over to Send Cut Send for 4 years, and that was awesome. And then kind of decided I want to do my own thing, and so I opened up my shop.
Right on. And how's it been so far?
Fortunately, I've had kind of like a clientele base. I did stuff at home in my garage.
Right.
While I was at Send Cut Send, I just do little projects here and there, and I've had people kind of just waiting for me to do something. So it was kind of an easy transition.
Good. That's really
definitely
good
not short of work. So
good. That's great because starting out's a fucking scary thing.
No, it's terrible. Like, just I don't know. For me, just renting a shop space and having insurance and like I'm like, oh my god, this is an extra like $3,000 a month.
Yeah, there's no just like go get a shop space. There's a lot to it. Yeah.
And then the shop space I got, there was like 4 receptacles in the whole building and two lights. So just kind of redid everything, painted, and got it looking nice in there.
Okay.
So,
well, what got you into interior?
I think it's just in my blood. My grandfather did it and taught my dad, and then my dad taught me.
And you guys are from here? Your grandfather did it here? Or?
No, so he was in Long Beach, and Bill Hara actually relocated him, and he was the foreman upholsterer for Hara's Auto Collection.
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And my dad has a bunch of stories of him. My grandpa would go out to the East Coast and kind of like scope out cars for Bill and bring stuff back, and then my dad would get kind of like hand-me-downs from Bill's kids. Like super nice shoes and other clothes. My dad would be coming into school all ratty, but just like alligator shoes.
Nice pair of kicks, dude.
Yeah. You're like, what the hell's going on here? But,
he's got some alligator penny loafers on and some rags.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my grandpa relocated up here in 64.
Okay.
So I born and raised here, and my dad's pretty much grown up here.
Okay. And obviously your dad's the one who taught you how to do it.
Yeah, I grew up in his shop. He was in Sun Valley, and kind of just grew up taking seats apart, doing all the dirty work.
And was he a custom upholstery guy, or
he did a little bit of everything? He did furniture at the beginning. He did cars, and then he got known for doing like hot rod interiors. So
gotcha.
That was kind of his niche area.
Okay.
So.
And you're not really no furniture, mainly automotive and full custom. You don't want to just fix the seat. You would, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I really enjoy building stuff and making things from scratch. That's my favorite part about doing it, is being creative. And then I get to weld and do woodwork and upholstery. So bringing all that stuff together is really awesome. But I'll do some filler work. I'll do repairs and like headliners and simple stuff just to kind of keep some cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because most of the big projects, they take 2-3 months sometimes. Like the last project I did, actually the second project I did when I opened my shop recently was a 55 Bel Air. And that took me about 4 months of actual like time on it.
And that's everything, right?
Yeah, that was a complete. They brought the car to me with no interior, just seat frames, nothing on it, and I built a custom trunk, door panels, headliner, console. I did some stuff with the dash. So yeah, and
that's cool. That's cool. That is a ton of work. One-off
along with adding some technology with that as well, right?
Yeah, so add a little bit of lighting and some stereo to it. So added on the lights, we did some functionality where it's kind of like a more modern car where you open the door and it kind of fades on.
Lights come on.
Yeah, it's got like a soft on, and then you close it, kind of fades out. And then we had just added in some kind of like modern features to it.
Are you doing? You were doing rapid prototyping at Sen Cut Sen. You could draw something and build it. Are you doing anything like that at your shop? 3D printing or?
Yeah. So after working at Sen Cut Sen, I knew I had to have a CO2 laser, so I bought one of those, and I utilize CAD as frequently as I can in the custom builds.
But you're not printing any parts.
Yeah, I do have a small format 3D printer. It's a 12 by 12 by 15. So I'll do prototype parts, and then I'll also do small finished parts like bezels for shifters, console parts, knobs, switches, vents.
But a whole door panel, you're building that yourself with wood, foam.
Yeah,
steel.
so trying to get away from wood as much as possible. On the higher end stuff, I'll use composites. We'll use aluminum. And what I'll do is I'll use my CO2 to cut out all the templates, essentially, and then I'll transfer that over to a table router.
Oh, wow.
And what's the reason for getting away from wood?
Just it warps over time, dry rots, all that kind of stuff. So basically, the aluminum, typically what you run into on older cars, too, is it's called like panel boards, like cardboard, but it's supposed to be treated.
Or
right.
Masonite,
yeah. And typically you'll pull the door panel off 3-4 times if you need to get into a window regulator or some other switch or whatever you need to get into the door, and the clips they're toast. You just rip the panel out and you can't really salvage it. So we're doing everything with aluminum, that way it's not going to rip out on you. And then it's all hidden fasteners too. So I tend to use a lot of magnets. So anywhere where you need access to the screws or clips, that can all be removed with magnet, and then you have your easy access to your screws, and just comes right out. Kind of more like modern serviceability in mind with those kind of things.
Well, it sounds better than modern. I don't think you can take a door off of a 2024 pickup without a jackhammer, and then you ruin the door and the panel.
Yeah, even today, like the modern stuff, they have plastic clips, and
that's the shittiest part about like the Peterbilt headliners. Like if you go to change stereo, there's like 4 clips across the top, but they're in that like particle board or whatever. As soon as you pop them out, the Christmas tree stays in the hole, and then your headliner fucking pulls out, and now you're done.
So yeah, that's what I try to keep in mind as far as modern stuff is serviceability, and like, okay, this guy's gonna go to a show. Let's put some paneling in the trunk that he can put his cleaning stuff in. Have everything hidden, and then when he gets to the show, you can just pop it off really quick.
Right.
And you don't have to be skilled or anything to put it back on. It just kind of self fixtures.
Just magnets back. Yep. Yeah, that's a great idea.
It locates on its own. So
yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Do you have a Instagram?
Yeah, it's JD Auto Trim. And
all your stuff's on there?
You know what? I'm really bad about uploading stuff on there.
Same.
It's all older stuff. I do have a few of the recent jobs I've done.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of just trying to manage the business side of things, and then also accomplishing anything during the day. But
go ahead, Alex.
Okay, speaking of that, how do you do that? Like, especially with you starting out, and that for me, like I get a lot of not necessarily jobs, but I get a lot of people inquiring about things and customers that hit me up because they saw me doing something on Instagram. But it's a really hard thing for me because I don't understand how it works, right? I just my wife gave me like a tutorial of this is when you should post. This is what you should post. This is the, she's like, you can use a filter if you want. I was like, I don't know what that means.
No, this doesn't do it for me.
So it's a really hard thing for me, but it is good because people our age are using that a lot.
Yeah, I think utilizing videos and that kind of thing is important. For me, I try to break it up. I do take a lot of pictures of the build process. Mm-hmm. So when I am ready to put it on social media, I have that roll of stuff to use, but I'm just bad about putting it on.
Yeah. Because I think it is really cool to see something like you said, that old car that comes in with just seat frames and there's nothing inside, and then by the time you have this crazy luxurious interior, that's a pretty cool thing, and it would be awesome to see the steps of it.
Yeah, the transformation is probably the part I like the most.
Okay.
So But yeah, it's a juggling act a little bit.
Right.
And I was advertising for a little bit, and it just got to a point where it's overwhelming.
Right.
So I stopped all of that. I kind of just keep my doors closed.
Right.
And everything's referral for the most part.
Okay.
So I kind of prefer it that way.
And word of mouth, especially in my business, I'm sure Eric's a lot similar. Word of mouth is the best thing ever, because if somebody says, "Hey, this guy did a great job," they probably already know, somewhat of a price point, and they know what they want, that kind of thing, compared to like this random homeowner that wants this interior that's probably going to cost $20,000 and he's got $2,000.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
People don't know what to expect on that stuff. I don't think they know what's involved in creating something from scratch.
Right.
So, it's setting expectations with customers, and all that stuff. It's fun, and then also kind of nerve-wracking at the same time,
Hope they got the money. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'll do is you can kind of read people. And,
right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
When they come in, especially with their vehicle, it just kind of depends on their outlook. If they're asking you for price immediately, you already kind of know, like, all right, maybe this is not.
That's a shopper.
That's a shopper. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm there on all kinds of stuff too. Like,
right.
I try to do my homework as much as possible. But.
Right. And when a customer brings something in like that car you're talking about, do they say, "Hey, this is what I want," or do they say, "Hey, show me what you can make"?
It's on either end of the spectrum. So most of the time, you're the expert.
Right.
I kind of like these colors, and I want to either do nostalgic or modern,
right,
or kind of an in between. And I just ask for a little bit of guideline. Mm-hmm. That way, I don't just make something that I want to make and they're not happy.
Right.
And then there's other people that are just like to the T. They've got it written out.
Oh, okay.
I need exactly this.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with either way, honestly, but it's nice to get a little bit creative. And
it's probably nice to put your little flair in it because it's your shop. You get to do what you want.
Yeah, and I mean, for the most part, people that are bringing their cars in, they're not builders, they're not designers.
Right.
And I can at least add a little bit of something to what they want.
Right.
And maybe improve upon it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
When you're doing a big job like that, how are you, doing the financial portion? I mean, obviously that's a huge undertaking, both, in materials and time. So are you asking like a certain amount up front, or how do you go about that?
Yeah. So typically I'll do like 20 to 30% deposit, and that'll cover materials and a little bit of labor up front.
Right. Especially when jobs take as long as they do, like that one you're saying, what was it, 3 months or something?
4 months.
4 months. Yeah. So that's a fucking long time to wait.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I lost my ass on that one.
Oh,
but that was more of me kind of wanting to try things differently.
Right.
I drew that car up fully in CAD.
Yeah.
And I'd never done that before. Everything was by hand before, so that was a good lesson for me.
Right.
And then, but yeah, so typically we'll do a deposit, cover materials, get a little bit of labor, and then I'll do either bi-weekly or once a month payments.
Yeah.
Depending on how the customer wants to do it.
Eric, how about you? How do you do that with like building engines? Because it's not an overnight thing for the most part, huh?
No, it's a pain in the ass. We like, I have jobs past a year.
Oh, okay.
Most of that is not because that was my plan.
Right.
I've been waiting on pistons for a 7.3 Ford since
your favorite thing,
March.
diesels, man.
The block's done. I got 2 pistons from Molly. I got 10 sets of rings, and the other 6 pistons, who knows? I called today. They're like, they're going to ship maybe between November 19 and November 30. I'm like, well, maybe I can bill the customer out and get rid of the thing.
Right.
He gave me a deposit to cover parts, so I'm floating the labor, but
right.
It's not the customer's fault that I can't get the parts, and I have tried everybody.
Right.
Are you a one-man band?
Yeah. I do have a buddy that does a little bit of audio and fabrication, so he started his own business, so he's in between. When he gets some free time, he'll come help me out.
He'll come help you with stuff.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just myself.
It's such a tough racket. Back in the day, 20 years ago, I was in a big one-car garage in a duplex, and I built engines like in my free time.
Right.
And you could get parts then. I couldn't do a whole lot. I had like a seat and guide machine and a mill and a lathe and a spray wash, and we could do one engine at a time. But it was like so efficient.
Right.
In my garage, like, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go make a sandwich. Or it's time for dinner. I'm already home. And I enjoyed it. We've grown the business, and I think at one time I had like 8 employees. Employees are a huge pain in the ass.
They are.
It's like you need help, but I can't train someone to talk on the phone and be like technical help. Someone calls, hey, I just got this motor, and how do you measure this?
You need that person actually doing the machine work and like the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the guys that can do that aren't good with people.
No, they don't want to talk.
No,
on the
they
phone.
don't want to. Yeah.
And it's like I have my cylinder head guy, Dan Brewer. He is a stud in the shop. He can run every machine. He knows how everything works. He can make some really good decisions on his own. He will not answer the phone.
Not my job.
Customer comes in, he disappears.
Yep.
Like, there's a customer up front to see you. I'm like, fuck, I'm trying to do something. Either order parts, I have to talk to customers, I have to call people and email invoices and get paid, and I would prefer to be in the build room or on the dyno.
Right.
But
Yep.
I have to have help. Drew helps. I mean, everyone helps. But it's tough, man. I mean, and then you're like, well, people come in, they're like, oh, well, you could get more stuff done if you had more people. I'm like, yeah, but then I would not be able to do anything except manage.
No, it's a managerial role at that point.
That's the thing. I went down that road because we had 15 people at one time, and it was nothing but me pulling my hair out all day because I was just babysitting motherfuckers all day long.
You don't get
anything done. No, you don't. You're literally just hanging out and seeing what problems arise, and it's not fun. That's not what I want to do.
Mm-mm.
No, it's hard to balance all of that. So
it is.
I definitely do not want to be in a managerial position. I want to be working on something. That's what I like doing.
Yeah, it's
what's like your 5-year goal with your company?
If I can't find anyone, more equipment. I'd like to do CNC router, large format 3D printer.
Right.
That way I can design and then kind of send stuff out to the machines.
Mm-hmm.
Let it work while I'm doing something else.
There you go.
And then if I can do, if it's just me, if I could do 2-3 really high end builds a year,
yeah,
I'd be super stoked doing that.
Okay. But do you take in random things to help take payment in the meantime?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, currently, if it's like a referral or it's just a seat repair, tear on the bolster where you're sliding in and out, or headliners coming down, I do enjoy doing that stuff. It's quick in and out.
Easy money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dirt bike seat.
Yeah.
Dirt bike seat.
Yeah, work today, paid today.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. So
you have to take that. It's a distraction, but if I put in 2 hours, I'll get paid for it tomorrow. And
yep. And I mean, if I could hire for that kind of work, I'd be super happy. It's easy to teach that stuff. And although even if it's a simple repair, I like to put as much detail and care as I do into my custom stuff.
Yeah, you want to do an awesome job.
That is much easier to teach. We can do pre-made stuff. You can buy OEM covers.
Buy a cover kit and just
replace it. Or you can do cat skins, something like that, and it's ready to go. And you just got to install it. Even then, it's hard to find somebody that's not just ripping stuff apart and breaking clips and
just going to town. Yeah.
Do you have that come up, Alex?
What's that?
So we're almost the last machine shop. There's 3 left in town. There used to be 7, and every machine shop kind of had their market. The tractor, the heavy equipment, the hot rod, the specialty racing, the bottom of the barrel stuff. And as machine shops have closed, all of those people are looking for somewhere.
Right.
I hate taking a partial job in.
I agree. I used to take more partial jobs in, but now I don't want to sound shitty, but now that we've gotten bigger, I have the opportunity to turn more work down, and it's definitely to your benefit to turn the work down. We get people all the time hey, I got this tractor in my backyard, and the cylinder seems leaking, so I took the cylinder off and I took it apart, and now I can't get it back together, and it's just not worth our time to take it because you're gonna lose money. 100% you're gonna lose money. It's a fucking nightmare. This dude's got a backhoe, a 1972 case, and you can't get fucking parts for it. It sits at your shop for forever. Then he doesn't want to pay your labor rate, except for it took you fucking 10 hours to get the cylinder apart and put back together, because then you had to go find a nut. You had to do all kinds of stuff for the cylinder, and the cylinder's not worth fixing compared to what the backhoe costs. And then this guy's pissed because he's got an $800 bill, and he bought this backhoe for $2,200. So It's just, at this point, we turn that work down. Unless, same as you, if I have a couple really good customers that they have some neighbors or something that they don't mind spending the money to fix what they have, but it's referral only.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of the time it's like a DIY thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough because, people don't know what they're doing, and
right.
they're like, it seems easy.
Yeah.
Easy enough, and then
yeah, it's easy. I got a staple gun. Yeah, I'll be good.
Oh man, that's harder than it looks.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
it's just like anything. I mean, you get enough time doing it, it becomes easier.
Right.
Yeah, just trying to tackle something brand new by yourself.
Yeah, that's why I don't do house projects.
Yeah,
because I'm
just
fucking not
leave
good
it
at
to
it.
an expert.
Yeah, I'll pay the guy. It's not worth. It's not worth it.
No, I've learned to kind of just give stuff away.
Right.
I don't need to do everything.
That's definitely one of the biggest lessons I learned, is to turn work away. You'll get a gut feeling instantly, and you're like, this doesn't seem like it's going to go good, and it's because it's not going to go good. That's the thing. It's just not. And I took a ton of those jobs, and I lost my ass on every single one of them. I've never made money on them, and it's just you would be better off paying your guys to stay home and not do anything than fucking take the job.
Yep.
Because you're going to lose money, so you pay them to stay home, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, no, I've had those customers where I would have been better off. Here's $500. Go to the next machine shop.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be money ahead. I'll be emotionally ahead.
No, yeah, and you
tough.
get those in, and then you're like halfway through it, and you're just like, oh man, I'd give this guy his money back, but I want to follow through.
Right.
Yeah, and I still take some partial work, but I'm really picky. If you just need me to hone the block and deck it, and you brought the piston, and you're gonna do everything yourself, even if you shouldn't be doing it yourself,
Right.
And we just make it real clear, like we put it on the invoice. We're gonna hone it. We'll bore it, hone it, deck it. We'll wash it for you. And down the road, my buddy always says, "Down the road motors." Yep, down the road. It's your problem because it's a partial, and I did what you asked me to do. But if you want me to do it right, we want to do the whole thing. That would be my choice.
Right.
Start to finish, it's a complete motor when it came in and complete when it leaves. And the hard part in my industry, and Josh, I don't know about you guys. I have to price match. I don't have to price match, but there's engine builders out there doing competition engines or custom engines, and they're almost Walmarting it. And
As far as like online type,
well, yeah. So Texas Speed came along, and that was a swinging dick with a lot of money, and started a machine shop, got a deal on some equipment, and then they set up a deal with because another company, CBM, used to do it. They set up a deal with GM where they bought all the seconds. So it was a blem not good enough for Chevy to put in a car.
Right.
They would buy all this stuff by the pound or by the container, and then they would rebuild it, re-sleeve it, repair it, whatever, and they were pumping motors out for dirt cheap.
I mean, that's a good deal on their end, but yeah,
it is a good deal, but we got a couple of those in and took them apart. And you take it apart and you're like, oh, this isn't even as nice as what Chevy would build.
Right.
And if you've ever taken a factory Chevy motor apart, and I'm a Chevy guy, we established that, unfortunately. We
all got one gay friend.
Yeah. I mean, I like Chevys, but you take one of their, the new LSX 454, it's $13,111, makes 630 horsepower all day long with a 2-year warranty. It's a badass motor, and she's rowdy.
For $13,000?
$13,000.
That seems like a fucking pretty good deal.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
It has the cheapest scat connecting rod you can buy.
Oh, really?
From scat in it. Like
Yeah.
if I rebuild someone's 454, I wouldn't use that rod.
Just use OEM parts.
Yeah.
No. I use aftermarket. But
No, I mean over the scat parts.
Yeah.
over that, I mean, I like scat, but I wouldn't use the cheapest one they make.
Right.
In this motor. But that's how they build it for $13,000. they figured out that it'll make 630 all day long, and it's not going to break a rod, and it's going to make it through the warranty period.
Right.
And I can't do stuff like that, but a customer comes to me, I want a 454. Texas Speed has it for this price, CBM has it for this price, and GM has it for this price, and I can sell you a Chevy crate motor and make like $300 to take it out of the Chevy truck and load it in the back of your truck. And
I mean, maybe that's the route.
If that's what I got to do, I'm totally happy doing that.
Right.
But if you want me to build it, it's like 30. And they're like, why is it so much? I'm like, well, I wouldn't use half the shit that's in there.
Right.
And we won't put the stuff on. It's just like buying an aftermarket cylinder head. Well, you can buy this guy's heads for $800 a piece. Awesome. You got to take them apart and fix them before you put them on the motor. Why? Because they're not right.
Right. We get that all the time, though, because I do a ton of like transmission converters, shit like that, and there's a bunch of aftermarket companies that build stuff. And, you know, I'll tell them, hey, you know, for us to rebuild this transmission for your scraper is going to be $25,000. And they're going to say, okay, well, the rebuild kit's only fucking $3,200. Well, I won't use those clutch discs. I won't use those clutch plates. I won't use that pump. I won't use any of this stuff. The pump from Caterpillar, which... Are they overpriced? Absolutely. But your first pump probably made it 20,000, maybe 25,000 hours, and they want, say, $3,500 for it. And you can buy this CTP pump for fucking $890. Yeah, that seems great until it only makes it 1,000 hours. The first one made 30,000 hours.
It'll make it out the driveway, but then you're going to be pissed because
exactly.
you have to do it all over again.
And so... I used to actually build stuff with it and just not give a warranty, and it bit me in the ass so many times that now I won't do it. You can there's a few companies that do make aftermarket stuff that I will warranty because realistically they actually make cat stuff. Because there's only a few companies that make bearings, that make clutch plates, that do all these things. So I will warranty them if you buy those, but you have to buy these. Otherwise, I'm not interested in building the transmission for you because it's going to be a nightmare for me. That's what it's going to come down to. Because all the cat ones that we do, and, you know, like NTK bearings, stuff like that, they're really good bearings. That's who cat uses, all kinds of things. Yeah, sure. If you want to pay that, you'll get the not paying for the cat name brand. You'll take that off the price, but they're still expensive bearings. But they're still going to do 20,000 hours. I'm not worried about it. And I had a customer that he came in, and it wasn't up to me. They scattered a hydraulic pump. So we did a clean out on it. He bought a hydraulic pump from an aftermarket company. It didn't even make it 10 hours, scattered another one. And so I told him, well, we got to do a whole nother clean out. Let's fucking buy a cat pump for it. And he goes, nope, they're going to warranty the pump. We get one for free. Well, you're only out $800, like besides all of my labor, because they're not paying for that. So we have probably 60 hours, maybe 80 hours in cleaning out this. It was a simple hydraulic system on the loaders, and so we have 80 hours into this thing, maybe a little bit more, but roughly 80 hours, and at $125 an hour. And so he puts another pump in it. What does it do? Makes it fucking 3 days, scatters the pump again. And so I just told him, I was like, hey, dude. He's like, well, they'll give me another pump for free. Well, at this point, you could have paid for fucking 5 cat pumps. Yep. So we pay the $2,300 instead of $800 for this cat pump, and that was 5 years ago, and the thing runs every day. Just cleaned it out, put a cat pump in it, and it runs fine.
It's tough. I try. I mean, part of my job is sales. Same with both of you guys.
Right.
Like, I don't want to bullshit you. Like, there is a difference between a $13,000 motor and a $30,000
Absolutely,
motor.
Yeah.
It might look the same, but when that one blows up, you're just going to put the whole thing in the garbage.
Yeah, just throw it away.
If we build something nice, you might be able to reuse most of it. And the shit that would break on that one's not going to break on this one.
Right.
But
how does that work with interior parts? Like, is there better manufacturers as far as suppliers for you, or do you use OEM stuff, or how does that work?
As far as like repairs and that kind of thing, OEM stuff is generally pretty good. But we have some good aftermarket suppliers. So,
do you?
Yeah, and I mean the aftermarket, same thing. Aftermarket supplies the OEM.
Right.
Sometimes.
And there's definitely better aftermarket suppliers than others.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I try to incorporate like a tiered system. Like, here's what I can do for the base level price. Here's what I can do for an intermediate level price. And here's what I can do with, you just want to go all out.
If you want Italian leather.
Right.
Yeah, and it's proven stuff. They have, like, actual ratings, abrasion, and UV, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about UV.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter how good of a job you do. turns colors in the sun.
No, and that's the biggest killer is stuff in the sun. So like, I just did a 2003 Mercedes CLK top. The car's got 30,000 miles on it, but the top was disintegrated, just sat outside its whole life.
Damn.
And then I go open up the top, take everything off. Everything's dry rotted, broken, and I'm just telling the guy, I'm like, hey, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but literally everything in this thing is broken.
Right.
And he's like, well, the car's got no miles on it. I'm like,
Here's
your option.
Probably should trade it in for a hard top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sucks, but yeah, sometimes you just gotta you give them the options.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let the customer decide.
Are you gonna sell this thing? Are you gonna trade this thing in? We'll get some spray glue and what's that new shit they spray on the roof now? Get you 5 more years on your asphalt shingle roof.
I haven't heard of that.
Giant fucking fire hose of glue and they
really?
Flex seal.
Yeah, it's Flex Seal. Yeah,
they hose your roof down. They're like, oh, we're saving the trash dumps. All this waste, and for $3,500 we'll spray your roof, and it's like spray glue.
No shit. Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Commercials and oh my goodness.
Wait, there's more.
My roofer's
little Billy Mays there. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, no, that shit it lasts like 15 minutes or till it snows.
Yeah.
And then the whole roof comes off.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy.
So in your line of work, I would assume you have to fabricate a bunch of parts.
Yeah, I started to do quite a bit more sheet metal, and so I do TIG weld as much of the stuff as I can. I do.
Is that something your dad taught you, or you learned along the way, or how'd that work?
No, just kind of something I was interested in. My neighbor that was next door to my dad's shop had a little flux core welder.
Oh, okay.
And I'd never welded in my life before. I was like 21 or 22, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a go.
Right.
And so did that, and then I actually ended up going to TMCC and did their course for welding. And
that
automotive.
little buzz box I bought from you fucking 3 years ago still kills it, dude. It's just in my garage. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do all kinds of little dirt bike projects and shit with it.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
I went to school with Gary Brown.
Gary, yep.
He works in the shop next door to mine. I have lunch with him, lunch and coffee with him every day.
Okay.
He's a pretty mean welder.
No, he's
pretty mean.
I forgot what he uses, the process he uses, but
he really hates all the shit I bring him, because I always have broken casts, like transmissions, all kinds of shit.
And he can fix casts.
He does.
All their structural steel is flux core MIG.
Yeah, no, he does. That stuff's hot and nasty, and like he's good at that though.
He welded this whole bar in place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I brought his. They just run the regular miller on the back of the truck, your Bobcat, but it runs a spool gun.
Yep.
Well, the spool's on the truck, and it welds like 70-18, and you still break off a piece of slag.
Right.
Except it looks like a machine welded it.
No,
and I know a lot of that's the operator.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic welder, and he can fix just
that's
about
like,
anything.
We had this. I'll show you in the garage later. We had this structural I-beam put in that someone was supposed to build it before it showed up, and then the steel showed up, and nothing was done. It was all fabbed with bolts for hangers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 60 bolts that had to be welded on this I-beam and tabs. And my contractor was like, he's on my shit list right now, and I don't know if he watches my podcast, but it's coming. So he took the thing home and welded the thing up, and they brought it back, and I was like, okay, oh, you run a little 70-18. I wanted to say, who's a certified welder that did this?
Right.
My God.
Looked like Ray Charles was down there fucking just getting after it.
I think it's probably structurally fine, but I don't think it was done by a certified welder, because you can tell when someone knows how to run 70-18 what a good weld should look like.
Yep.
And Gary can still run stick, but why wouldn't you use the latest technology? Like, that thing's got a pulser, and it's a hot rod welding
You're out in the
machine.
field, and you can just you can carry this little box around, and you can throw it over your shoulder too.
Oh no, he welds out of a suitcase, but it still looks like that.
No,
that's in our line of work. Like there's old school dudes that, especially for equipment stuff, because you have to deal with wind. It's dirty. You have to prep it. All kinds of stuff. That guys are just, we'll fucking put it in with 70-18. if I have to use 7018, I will. But always, my suitcase comes out, and I'm running 045, and we will fucking weld it up with my MIG. Because it's so much faster, it lays down so much better, it's a much better weld, and it doesn't take any longer. Yeah, your prep might be just a little bit longer, but the amount of time you save by being able to weld it with MIG instead of 7018 is not even fucking close.
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't...
Especially pipeliners, dude. Nothing pisses me off more than fucking Texas pipeliners. They show up, they got a fucking dually, they got a welder on the back. That's the only thing that's in there is a goddamn welder. 1972 SA200 Lincoln. It's a piece of shit. The truck's a fucking piece of shit. They didn't. The bed's not painted. They think it's the coolest thing ever to have a fucking King Ranch and the bed's not painted. It's just a rusty bed, and they got an SA200 on it, and they're like, "We're here with some oxyacetylene and 7018." I was like, "Well, it's not 1975. We're fucking." No. We're past that.
Man, you nailed that one on the head.
Yeah.
That's every weld rig I've ever seen.
It literally is, dude. And they're like, well, we got a barbecue on the back. I was like, I don't have time to fucking barbecue, bitch. Like, let's fucking weld.
No, we're fixing shit. That's why we called you.
Yeah, that's why we called you. I hired one guy, and I was like, hey, just air arc those fucking teeth adapters off and weld some new adapters on because I didn't have time. And I get back, and he's got a fucking oxyacetylene torch, and he's torching this shit off, and now the fucking frog on the bucket's all fucked up because it's all cut up. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, well, I just really haven't done this kind of work. I was like, you said that you weld on equipment all the time. And he's like, well, like pipeline. And I was like, we don't do pipeline, bro. Like, you got to go. So we ended up fucking getting rid of him, and we just welded it back up. But they're a different breed. I'm sure they have their place, but it's not here.
Yeah, fixing fences.
Yeah.
We didn't introduce Stick today.
Oh,
I call him Stick, but
yeah,
it's Drew Miles, our producer, the Hammer.
Yeah.
Big
Dick Miles.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The Hammer.
Glad to be here watching.
Before the podcast, we were talking about different men's undergarments that contain your package.
Yeah.
And Alex has a 2-pocket. I don't know what brand, and then Josh was talking about the Duluth Trading fire hose pants, which those are made like with the fire hose material.
Yep.
Those are good pants.
But they don't have a dick pocket for Drew, right?
They're stiff though. They're not as
no, I got the stretchy ones because I was, gaining a little weight.
I didn't know they had
the stretchy fire hose.
That guy pants.
Dude, they're fantastic. And they've got this seam that's built in so that you don't blow it out.
Huh.
Yeah, it's great.
No shit.
Raul, my guy, he fluctuates weight a lot depending on how many fucking tacos he has that day. And he got the Cintas guy to get us they're like stretchy pants. They're the coolest shit ever. They're like literally like shit my grandma would wear, like elastic waistband.
It's like men's yoga pants.
That's exactly what it is. But they're not like super like tight either, but they're the coolest shit. Every single guy I have has got rid of their dickies, and we all switched to these fucking like stretchy elastic pants, and they're the best.
Dude, it's
you can work in them all day and then lay on the couch and
you really can.
Scratch your balls and not have to unbutton your pants.
Yeah, and they work out great.
So hot rods, previous hot rod, current hot rod.
So I started out with import. I had an SRT4 Neon.
Ooh,
yeah.
Sorry. My wife is a Dodge Neon fan, but for different reasons.
My wife's a Mazda Miata fan, and I had to break the news to her that it's not a cool car.
Can't have one anymore.
It is for a girl, I think.
Yeah, I guess for a girl. Besides the fact that her 2 ex-boyfriends had one, I was like, you were dating chicks. Like,
well,
oh man.
That was kind of my introduction, and then I got a Trans Am, 2001 WS6, and put turbos on that, twin turbo. You guys did the engine for it. And then I kind of sold all my stuff. I've got a truck just to haul stuff around for work, and then
that's a Chevy, right?
Yeah, I've got a Silverado.
Whew.
I'm not the only one.
Not outnumbered.
I mean, we can cuddle later if you want.
Yeah.
It's
below 32, so it's not gay. It's survival. Right. You guys are good.
No one gave the Hammer a hard time because he has a Dodge.
Well, he had. Yeah.
He still has a Dodge.
Yeah. What do you still have?
The
Super B. That doesn't count.
Super B.
You can't classify that.
He has like the one owner original
Mopar.
Super B.
Mopar or no car, baby.
Mopar, no car.
I'm in. In. It's a cool car.
I'm
Smokes
okay with that one.
Bit, but
gets
smokes
hot,
a little bit. Definitely gets hot.
Yeah.
You don't want to be idling around a little bit. It's a highway car.
It's a highway car. Yeah. That's for taking mama to church. And that's what it's for.
Keep her under 70 because it's only a 3-speed.
But yeah, I got my truck, and then I've got a little BMW diesel. It's my commuter.
535.
335D.
Oh, 335.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I heard you're making some good power out of that thing.
Well, actually, this weekend I'm gonna get rid of some of the restrictive components on it. Tune it.
Open up the airflow a little bit.
Yep, open it up a little bit. I think the tune that I got for it was 130 horse and then 180 torque.
Gain.
Yeah, gain.
Isn't that what it came with?
It was 276 horse and 430 foot-pounds
Jesus.
stock.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And it's I didn't hear you. Is it an XI or an I?
No, it's just rear-wheel drive,
Two-wheel drive?
and open diff to,
Oh, so
She's gonna have some good one-tire fires there.
You got a peg leg.
I think if you get it just right, it'll light both off, and then any little bit of weight transfer, one tire.
One tire, yeah.
You're gonna be a 3,300 pound car making as much as a third gen Cummins, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You can say non-emissions compliant because
It's track only.
this podcast is non-emissions compliant.
Yeah.
And to drive to the bar where we have the podcast, you actually go off-road. So it's off-road use only vehicle.
That's right. Yeah.
Totally fine. Totally
I mean,
fine.
we're in counties in Nevada, too, where
Yeah.
you don't even need emissions
Yeah.
for the most part,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's always good.
Oh, man. Because they collect too many tax dollars to fund a brand new DMV on Double R.
That's appointment only.
Yeah,
that you can't get into.
it's 6 weeks out. My dad's driver's license expired. I didn't know. Tried to do it online. This service is not available for my dad online. He's in a walker. He can walk like 30 feet, 40 feet. Their parking lot's a quarter mile wide.
Right.
Sorry, you can't renew your registration.
For appointment only.
Yeah.
So, I have to, make an appointment. The soonest appointment is December 22nd, and it's November 14 today, 15, something like that. Are you kidding me?
It works out good
So
because
disappointing.
the Hammer's wife does a lot of paperwork for me, and they live close enough to Virginia City that they can use the VC DMV. So I had 10 things that weren't registered, but they only allow 3 transactions at a time. So she's been going up there.
So she leaves work an hour early because
Yeah.
the DMV on the way home.
Yeah. But literally at the
Son of a
Story
bitch.
County one, you just walk in. There's no line, there's no anything. You just fucking walk in. But I've tried to go there before because another mutual friend of ours, Reed, he goes there all the time, but he lives right next to Drew, so he can do it. But they won't let me do any transactions there because I live too far away.
Yeah, I used to go to the Carson
so-
DMV, and they
that's
won't.
so
they
fucked up.
don't allow it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Carson's just as bad now.
Yeah, and Carson's appointment only now too, so you can't get in. And Fallon, they ended up pulling people from other places, so they're fully staffed. But oh my god, my
used to
wife!
have-
It's a good thing she's hot because the other morning she gets a ticket for her registration. We bought her car in California. California now makes you register a car before you can leave with it. Either it has to leave on a trailer or it has to be registered in California before you leave.
No, they'll deliver it.
No, yeah, but I didn't know that. So to top this off, this story, my wife, which I hated the car at first, but I really enjoy the car now. I'll give her that.
This is a Hyundai.
The Genesis one, but yeah, it's
Oh,
a Hyundai.
Genesis.
Yeah. So I didn't want her to get the car. She buys this car, and so we go to fly. We get to the airport, and our fucking tickets don't work.
Oh no.
It's because she bought them for the wrong month.
Oh no.
Yeah, she bought them for the same day, then the following month. So then I let it go. I was like, whatever, don't get mad. We'll see if we can get down there. Well, we're just going to L.A., so of course there's a couple flights a day to L.A. So we get on another flight. We go down there. We get to this car. She looks into absolutely nothing. And we get there, and the dude's like, all right, yeah, so you got to register in California. You got to pay California taxes. And we went down to Long Beach. Their tax rate's over 11% or more. And our tax rate's 8.1 or whatever it is here. And I was like, I don't want to fucking pay California tax rate. I'll bring – and then he's like, no, you either – you can buy the car today, but to leave with the car, you have to register it. Or you can pay for a transport and you can fly back. Well, we already didn't have a flight that day, so I didn't want to try to get another flight that day to come home just to pay. So I was like, fuck it. We'll just pay the registration. I want to go home. So we go home, but it's got a year-long registration on it now. And my wife gets pulled over the other day, gets a $1,500 fucking fine because the cops seen her in town for more than 60 days, and she hasn't had it registered.
Oh no.
So I tell her, I was like, hey, if you're going to go to Fallon DMV, you got to, get there at 7 a.m. They open at 8. You got to get there at 7 because walk-in only, and they run out of places. They take 100 a day. That's all they take. So I call her at 8:30. I was like, "Hey, how's the DMV? What place did you get?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm on my way." And I was like, "Don't even go. You're not gonna fucking get in." And she's like, "Yes, I will." And 10 minutes goes by. She calls me. She's like, "They're full for the day." And I was like, "I fucking told you. I go to the DMV 20 times a year. Like, you can't get in."
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
It's ridiculous.
We bought a car in Tennessee. I got a 2023 M5 competition, skyscraper gray, black interior. Every fucking option that BMW sells, offers in that car, driver's package, you name it, it is deluxe. Bought in Tennessee. It was kind of a impulse buy because I wanted one. You couldn't get one. There's a car broker who was going to find me one for $5,000, and I was like, dude, I have Google too.
Right, yeah, I also have Google.
But then I went to the dealership to order one. They're like, well, there's like 36 people in front of you with deposits, and it's like a year and a half. Well, so we do a ton of BMW racing engines, and I buy all my parts. I used to buy them all from Chicago, but the sales manager moved to Tennessee because he was tired of fucking Chicago.
Right.
So he's in Nashville.
Old Chirac.
Yeah, he's at Nashville BMW. So I bought all my parts from him, and I was telling him, like, yeah, I'm trying to order this BMW, and no one will order it for me, and it's a big weight, and blah, 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 blah. And so, like, I don't know, 4 months go by, and he sends me a picture of the car I was trying to order. And he's like, some other swinging dick ordered it.
Right.
Came into the dealership, took his wife for a test drive, and she rode in the car, and she said, hell no. I would have got a new wife at that point.
Yeah.
Trade in the wife.
Trade in for a newer model, man.
So he didn't buy the car, so he sends me a text. He's like, no dealer markup. Actually, it was less than sticker. And so I flew out there, made the deal happen, and their whole deal was that I had to pay on the spot DMV Nevada taxes and registration.
Oh, shit.
For Tennessee to let the car leave the state.
Gotcha.
And we sent it on a transporter.
Right.
But Tennessee couldn't let the car leave until we paid all that shit.
Right.
So the controller at Nashville BMW, and this dealership shames our dealership. It's like 3 times bigger. They have all kinds of cool shit in there. Awesome dealership. The controller calls me. I've been fighting for a year to get a fucking license plate for my car. I paid for it last year.
Right.
I paid the taxes last year. And the chick was sending the paperwork to Right Way DMV, the main DMV here.
Right.
And she's like, I tried to call and talk to someone, and you wouldn't believe this, but an answering machine a recorded message, picked up the phone and said, we're not taking calls, and hung up on me.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with your DMV? She was losing her mind.
Right.
She's like, do you know of any other phone numbers for DMV? I'm like, no.
No.
That's the one. If they don't want to take your call, they won't. She's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So I made an appointment. I have an appointment December 14th to go punch someone's lights out and go to jail because I paid like $18,000 a year ago and don't have a fucking license plate.
Yeah. Well, Callie Dan, that was on the podcast earlier, he's like, well, don't you guys have AAA? And I was like, no, I don't have AAA. And he's like, just get AAA. And I was like, why do I need AAA? He's like, because AAA has their own DMVs in California. You just go to the AAA DMV, and you do all your paperwork. You just walk in.
We used to have one on Prater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then we had the commercial one on Craig Street, too.
AAA has their own DMV?
This is news to me, too. I fucking have never heard this before. But, yeah, you can do, like, simple like registrations, like, simple shit at a AAA DMV. But you have to be a AAA member. And I never do this.
$60 a year. That's like insurance for people that can't change a tire or run out of gas.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I got people for that.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I have AAA. I've had my mom bought it for me ever since I started driving. 16 years old. She's had it for me.
Yeah.
And you get four tows a year. And I've always broken every car I've ever driven. Pushing it too hard, but
yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah.
I have towing through my insurance.
I do too, but I don't have AAA. But apparently I should because they have their own fucking DMV.
Sounds like there's some benefits to that club that's not very expensive.
Do we get any sponsorships?
Seriously, yeah. We need some.
You know, we should hit AAA up for the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that.
Did you have AAA when you hit that cow? Because your dad was a AAA guy, right?
We didn't claim that on the insurance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's still clean.
The cow
actually
did a flip. It didn't even hit the car.
No, the best part is I'm dead asleep. I'm like 16. No, I was probably more than that because I had the pickup at the time, And Drew's brother wakes me up. I was at Drew's house. He went to go fucking rail out his old lady back in the day. And so I'm at Drew's house and somebody wakes me up and he's like, hey Al. I was like, oh, what's going on? He's like, Drew hit a cow. We got to go. I was like, all right, yeah. And so then Mr. Miles is in there and he's just madder than a fucking scolded chicken inside there. He's like, oh, I can't believe you did it. It's like 2 a.m. when we go and we get to Drew's fucking smoked this cow with a Jeep. And I don't know why, but I was like, yeah, I'll bring a chain. We'll tow him back. It's like fucking 25 miles. Like, we're not, the Jeep's just fucking totaled. But I always knew you guys had AAA, so I was wondering what happened there because it did get towed.
What about the hamburger? Did you let that go to waste?
No,
you had to pay for like it was a cow too, and so they had to pay for like a couple calves.
It went from like an open range onto non-open range, so luckily that kind of was to my benefit. But yeah, no.
So you bought a cow at like
I
$1.04
have to,
a pound?
No, I wish. No, it was kind of just a wash on that.
So last on the list to talk about is Second Amendment. Josh, you're also a gunny. What's favorite? Maybe I wouldn't say favorite gun or safe queen, but give me a go-to gun in your arsenal.
So I not too recently. It was probably 4 or 5 months ago. I bought a M9A3 Beretta. So that open slide, just kind of neat looking gun.
Do you carry?
So I'm horrible, but yeah, I had a concealed carry permit and I let it expire, so I need to go take the class again, the full class, not the
not the renewal. Yeah.
So
the renewal is way easier.
Way
yeah,
easier.
it's only like a half day or something, or
No, it's like an hour.
Yeah, it's like an hour basically.
Well,
yeah.
Hey guys, so here's the changes to the laws. Okay, go shoot, qualify, boom, boom, boom. All right, here you go.
yeah.
The qualification is actually a little scary, but I mean, I'm fine with it. But
I mean,
yeah,
you have to hit paper at like 9 feet.
Well, so
or
here
11 feet.
it's what is it? It's 6, 9, 12 or something like that.
Yeah, but it's just on the paper.
It's just on the paper. When I was there's like an 80-year-old lady. She pulls out this fucking hog leg.
Smith & Wesson 500.
It really was, dude. She's all shaking. Boom! Fucking I was like, Jesus Christ, man. It fucking scared me when I took mine. I was like,
did you ask her? Do you carry that? Where do you?
It was. I think it was because. What was
it? It was like a
I'd have to
Python or
it really
686.
I'll have to ask Austin because I took it with Austin and it had like a rail on top of the barrel that was like this tall. Like I don't know where the fuck she kept it, and this lady was fucking shaking and shit. It was
my coyote gun.
It's exactly what it was. The entire row just stopped and watched this old lady just fucking plink away, and she barely hit paper, but they're like, yeah, you hit the paper, you're good.
They're on paper, that's fine.
Yeah,
I saw these. I don't know, like. Random shit pops up on my Facebook, and it was there was an ad for gun control activists. It was men's underwear for gun control activists, and it was men's underwear with a built-in camel toe.
Oh, really? These would not fit you, Hammer.
I was gonna say there's no extra pockets, right?
Yeah, no extra pockets.
No, that was for if you're an advocate for gun control and you're a dude, you should wear these camel toe shorts.
Right, it just tucks it way back.
Totally appropriate.
Yeah.
Gun control should be up to the guy with the gun in his hand.
Yeah.
And if he can't control it in his hand, he shouldn't own it.
If you have the money for a tank, you should have it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Maybe I don't know about 104 millimeter barrel if that's an active barrel, and you could get rounds for that. I would be nervous if my neighbor had that.
Well, it's because you built a goddamn palace in front of their fucking house. That's why.
I don't know if they would actually shoot it, but if they did, I'd be worried about like the airport.
Right.
Because that's like 14 miles away.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I haven't. That's a kind of a weird one. I think if you can afford it, you probably figure out how to run it.
Right. Well, this is one of those things. If you buy a house in a normal neighborhood and then your addition is 3 times the size of your house and none of your neighbors get a view anymore, that's what you have to be worried about. See, I bought a smaller house in a nice neighborhood, so then I have a smaller house.
You're building up. You can build up to the neighborhood. Yeah, we overbuilt for the neighborhood a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, tiny bit.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
We only killed the view of like 3 neighbors.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah, not all of them, yeah.
All those neighbors are fine.
The other block, they're fine. Yeah, they can still see.
Yeah, up the street's fine. It wasn't. The problem was we drew this thing out, and when you're doing a remodel, it's square feet, right?
Right.
On the ground, and everyone wanted to build back here. And I was like, no, I want to keep the yard. No one mows the grass up front. No one uses the grass up front.
Right.
Our fucking dogs can't hang out on the grass up front because they'll eat the neighbor's kids when they walk by.
Right.
So it's useless dirt up there. So we drew this footprint, like what would make it work. And then when you're paying for the concrete and you're paying for the roof, but one more story or adding a story, that's the cheap part.
It is, yeah.
But when you go to resell, all they care about is square foot.
That's all they care about, yeah.
So they don't care, like second floor square foot doesn't change, is not cheaper.
No.
It's just square foot.
Yep.
They don't care if you have hardwood. They don't care if you have Wolf appliances. They don't care if you have a metal roof. It's square foot.
Square foot.
I'm like, well, to justify the expense, I had to go 2-story.
Yeah. I mean, if I had...
And the county has the impression, because if you go to the end of the street, it's all 3,000 square foot, like, I don't know who the contractor is down there, but it's a big contractor.
Right.
It's all 3,000 square foot and up, big, 1 or 2 story, huge houses there. There's huge houses there. There's big shit down there. And probably the natural progression of the neighborhood is going to be that they'll buy these half acre lots down the street, and they'll cut them into thirds, and they'll build 2-story houses next to each other.
Right.
All the way down the street. So this would fit. This might be like the clubhouse for the neighborhood.
Right. But when the golf course comes in, this could be the clubhouse over here.
Yeah. I don't know where they put a golf course, but definitely
mini golf.
It's a little. I don't know. I mean, we could talk all day about that deal. It's fucked up.
Well, before we wrap this up, what's one thing that you would tell somebody trying to get into your industry?
Basically, I'd tell them to, if they're gonna go out on their own, just don't be afraid to screw things up. Just keep trying things and make it work. And otherwise, if you can get in with somebody and kind of, it's a leg up, and somebody that's willing to teach you.
Right.
I'd probably go that route, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you would take an apprentice.
Oh, I would absolutely take an apprentice if somebody's willing to learn. I'd show them everything that I know how to do. So, I feel like that's a lot of the old trades are that way. And sometimes you got to deal with some guys that are just
fucking whores.
Yeah. Some guys are hard asses, and you know what? But you respect that. That's probably why they're successful.
Yeah, I hear stories. I have a competitive engine builder in the local area, and they're like, "Oh, that guy's such a dick." Like, well, I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I'm
not far off.
On my way.
I'm getting there. I know why he's a dick.
Yeah.
But he's like a fucking encyclopedia.
Right.
No, I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge. Like I wholeheartedly wish my grandpa was still around. That guy knew every little detail about cars from, the early 1900s all the way up to the 60s.
Right.
And he had the patience to teach it.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about,
like, if you don't get it, it's just not for you.
It's not for you. Yeah.
Yep. So.
No, teaching takes so much patience, especially with skilled welding, line boring.
Right.
That's a fucking big deal. We haven't talked about that. This is the 4th episode of the Torque and Horsepower podcast. There were 2 previous episodes recorded. We had an issue.
We're not blaming the hammer, but it is his fault.
No, it was the SD card.
It's SD card, yeah.
I promise all of our listeners, in the next episode, we will talk about torque and horsepower.
Yeah.
For at least 10 minutes.
At least 10 minutes, yeah.
To explain it or just talk about it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we appreciate you coming out. Hammer's got to pick up some kids.
Yep.
So we're going to bail out of here.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on, and it's been great. So
thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.